Let's give one more big round of applause. This is our jazz band. They are awesome, aren't they? These kids are in 7th and 8th grade and they just rock. They are awesome. Recently competed in a local competition, won a gold rating. So again, I want to welcome you guys to the second ever Warrior Showcase. This is a community event, something that we dreamed up just last year. I am Stephen Clark. I am the Woodside principal. Again, my second year here at Woodside. Prior to Woodside, I spent 3 years as the assistant principal at Homestead. Prior to that, I had a little bit of administrative experience in Warsaw Community Schools, and I was a teacher, a 7th grade teacher at Noblesville Schools. But I am a homegrown product of Southwest Allen. It seems like every year here there are more and more of my fellow classmates are having kids come through, so that's exciting to see you guys again. Mr. Beaumont over here, our athletic director and assistant principal, he's going to come up and talk to you a little bit tonight. And then Mrs. Lockhart, you'll see in the gym. So this is the first of 2 informational meetings that we'll run tonight. Okay, this is just going to be about a short presentation. You're going to get a good taste of what your students, and your students go to one of our feeder elementaries, heard, plus some additional information that we feel is helpful for our parents to feel comfortable. So one of our objectives here today is to make a good first impression. Okay, we know and respect the fact that the game has changed and you guys have choices where you want to send your kids to school more so than ever before. And we think it's really important for you to know the class of education, the class of experience, middle school experience that your students will receive when they come to Woodside. We truly believe that we have more to offer than many of your other choices, and we believe that we have more experiences that are going to help prepare your students for the next step. Okay? So we appreciate you being here tonight. I hope you're excited to go and experience the showcase. Our building is wide open tonight. Okay? Nothing is locked up. All right? You can see anything. You can walk the halls. You'll also have an opportunity to do that on registration day with your student's schedule in hand, and all that information is coming in the summer. Okay, but tonight's just about making that good first impression, getting your kids excited. I'm excited to see there's a lot of kids who came. They're probably like, long day of school, going back to another school. But we're excited you guys are here because we want you to see things that you're interested in to get you excited to be a Woodside Warrior this time next year. Couple bit of information, and I want you guys to know, I'm going to put a lot of stuff and information up on these slides. I will provide you with everything you see via email. If your student attends the elementary, I will send it to your elementary and they will send it out to you, as well as a recording of this. Okay, so I know I'll see phones, people taking pictures of slides, all that's good. Just know that this information will be sent out to you. If you're someone who goes to maybe a different school or you don't go to a feeder elementary and you want a copy, maybe send a friend, please just reach out to us via email and we can get that sent to you. Woodside, a little bit about it. This building was built in 2005. This is really, if you don't really count Homestead being done yet, the newest building in the district. We're also the 2nd largest school in the district. We're getting ready to celebrate 50 years of Woodside. Now I kind of want to see who I got. I saw some fellow Warriors coming in here as I attended Woodside myself. Raise your hand if you went to Woodside. Okay, all right, a few, all right. It looks a lot different than it did maybe when you and I went there. Obviously, in a new location. It's kind of sad to see the old Woodside being torn down there right next to the new Homestead building. We continue to see a steady enrollment. All right, you can see our grade level size there, and we have an excellent staff here to serve your students. We have a lot of different courses available. One thing that we really do and believe in here is we do have a large school, but we do a teaming approach at each grade level. All right, so your students, when they come in as 6th graders, will be divided into 2 teams. We have the Gators, and I was a Gator back in the day, and we have the Wildcats. So really we have schools within the school to help keep your kids connected and to help your teachers. So all the teachers on one team would have the same group of kids. So when they meet during the week, they're able to collaborate, talk about strategies that might be working with one group of students in their class, all right, and translate that over to their classes. We offer 15 honors courses. There's information coming out about the honors petition that your students will all have the opportunity to do at their elementary school soon. As you can see, our average class sizes this year, a lot of people say, oh, it's such a big school, the classes are huge. No, they're all 25, 26. We try to stay right around that line of 25 to maintain a small learning environment for our students. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Mr. Beaumont so he can introduce himself, and he's going to give you some information about all the ways we do to try to make you feel connected and communicated with throughout the school year.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Good evening, everybody, and thank you all again for being here. My name is Mr. Tim Beaumont, and this is my third year here as an administrator. I taught here for 2 years and like 2 months, and but I've been in the district for quite some time. I was at the elementary level for 13 years as a teacher, and then of course I stepped up to another level here at the middle school. And then I moved on to Fort Wayne Community Schools and worked my way through that system. And then Dr. Parker Ginder called me and offered me this position. And I said, absolutely, because there were so many days I was like, I want to retire at Woodside. And so here I am. I'm going to go off topic just for a moment. This is a great school. I even have my daughter here now. She was at Maple Creek Bobcat for 2.5 years. So her last semester, she's here at Woodside here with me. So very grateful. She heard me bragging about it all the time, and so we have her here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we communicate. Number one, if you're obviously at the elementary level within our district, we use Parent Square. That is first and foremost one of those, if there's anything safety related within the district, we apply that, we send it out, and of course it goes straight to your phone or your computer. And then on top of that, we have Canvas for our students, for our teachers. Our teachers use Canvas as basically a platform for educating your child. So anything standards-wise that's being taught in your classroom, they get filtered through Canvas. So if a teacher is assigning an assignment, it goes through Canvas. If they're sick, they're at home, and you're wondering what your child needs to do, log on to Canvas. So that's your line if your child is sick or at home or needs something to do on the weekend. Teachers have to have their assignments up for the week, a framework for those assignments up for the week that Monday morning by 8 a.m. And we do that essentially, it's tentative because as we know, if you're an effective teacher, you're gauging your classroom, you're looking at what's going on in the room during that week, and then the learning is provided based on what you're seeing. So the framework is there, paperwork is there. If they have an assignment, again, your child will have that iPad and be able to apply themselves using their iPad. Power School, I would log in as your child. That way you have access to his or her grades almost immediately. You're seeing what they're seeing. It's also easier to do it as the child, so you'll have access to your child's codes and username. You log in, you have it on, it's an app on your phone, and you're a click away from either having the child in all weekend or allowing them to go to their buddy's house to hang out. So, you know, it's there. I would also be a little bit generous as well, knowing that the communication between the child and the teacher, or the parent and the teacher for that coming weekend, parents, if you're a teacher, and some I see teachers and educators within our group here, you know, we give them a little bit of leniency on the grading process. You know, we want that turnaround time to be there, that effective feedback to be there. Typically, I'll give them over the weekend. I remember as a teacher for 16 years, knowing that the weekend's coming, I can catch up on grading. By Monday morning, those grades should be updated. So that's what we're looking at, as well as, you know, administrators as well. So Power School, I'd log in as a child, and then of course you have that quick access. But Canvas is there. Again, the calendar's set up where any of those paperwork or any of that paperwork or assignments are there for you to look at each and every wonderful day. Yep.
All right, so this might look a little intimidating if you've never had a student before, but I promise you, within the first week, we really slow things down for our sixth graders. They're gonna know this schedule before you do. You'll have an opportunity to walk the schedule, but we have what's called a modified block schedule, okay? There's a lot of debate, there's a lot of research out there discussing the pros and cons of a block schedule versus a straight 7. Okay, SACS has adopted a while ago basically what we call a modified block schedule. So an average week, which what's an average week this time of year, right? But an average week, your student would have a pink day that's red and white put together, okay, on a Monday. That's where they're going to see all of their teachers, okay, except their warrior time, which is their homeroom. On a red and white day, which is typically going to be your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're going to go to every other day those red 1 or white 1 classes, or red 2, white 2 classes, and they're a longer block. So what's the reason for the block? Well, the block really gives an opportunity for a lot of our teachers in certain subjects to go deeper. For example, if you're an art teacher and you want to do a project, all right, this allows you to be able to give time for instruction and work time and reteaching and working with those students through that project. Science is a great example of a lab, right? If you have a lab, right, you want to set it up. If you have a 45-minute period, it's really difficult to do that. Where the block allows us to go deeper, to allow students to ask questions, and to allow students some time to work and their teachers to provide feedback rather than just, here's your assignment, go home, good luck, okay? So that allows for a lot of time for them to help right during that time. But again, we really walk the kids through this the first week. We help them with their schedule, we make announcements, they figure it out very, very quickly. I mentioned this earlier, okay? We're gonna communicate a lot in the summer. When the Power School rollover happens and we grab all you guys into Power School and all your information, we will start communicating through Parent Square, and you'll start getting these types of information. You'll have the newsletter. I usually write a letter. Here are some things that are new. Here's some things to keep in mind. Here's some things to look forward to. You'll have that red, white, pink day calendar. So if you're planning trips or you're planning appointments, you'll have the opportunity to know what day it is of the week that they might, in the classes they might miss. So we'll have that all prepared for you. Important dates, you'll have a link where we have most of the important dates, upcoming events, including events like this tonight, all included on that. The back to school night's a really important night to come meet your teachers. And then the school calendar, which is actually available now if you go on the school website. I'm not going to really go over these things, but I would encourage you to review our handbook before coming to school. Okay, there are a lot of changes when you go from elementary to secondary, and it's important that you review things like our attendance procedures and expectations. We have a high expectation for student conduct. Okay, your kids are getting older, they're getting bigger, okay? The information is getting more important, it's getting harder, okay? So what we like to talk about is a safe and distraction-free environment, okay? A safe and distraction-free environment. There are some things here that you should review, okay? Yes, they can bring a water bottle. Cell phones, however, right, are this major distraction. Now, we don't recommend the students receive a cell phone at this age, at least until 8. There's a lot of research, or in 8th grade, there's a lot of research on that, but that's obviously your choice as a parent, okay? But when they come in the door in the morning, we're expecting cell phones to be off and put away. All right, I can tell you from experience working in a secondary school where they allowed cell phones, whew, what a distraction, okay? So that we're really lucky to live in a community that supports that and have a school board that supports the cell phones being off and away during the day. Along with the safety, all bags will be kept in their lockers. You know, for a lot of kids, that's going to be the first time they ever use a combination lock. But their 5th grade teachers are going to start working with them in the spring. And again, we really help them out a lot when they arrive here with getting their lockers. You can spend all the time you want during your registration day once you get that locker combo for the first time practicing. But again, we're going to help them. We want them to be successfully, obviously. Okay? Drop off and pick up. How many people have ever done our drop off line? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. It gets a little hairy, but I'm going to go over this here in a second. But just please know that our design for our drop-off works, okay? The number one priority is student safety. Please use the horseshoe and act responsibly. All right, let me walk you through what a morning at Woodside looks like. So at 7 o'clock, we are already receiving the buses. We are Tier 1, okay? So we are one of the earliest schools to start, us in Homestead. okay? So at 7 a.m., we're receiving hundreds of students into this building. They are our priority, okay? It makes it really difficult for our administrative team, our SRO, and everybody in here to focus on anything except the students here, okay? So I am really relying on parents to act responsibly and follow what we put out, okay? The doors will open at 7:15. We start opening a little bit earlier in the winter months because we do have a lot of walkers and bike riders. We want to get those kids in and get them warm. Plus, we have a lot of kids, right, who parents will bring them in the winter months, so that line gets a little bit longer. We want to get it moving, so we start really opening the door a little bit earlier. Door 1 up front is not where your student will be dropped off. They will be dropped off down at the corner here. If you look at the map, they will be dropped off on the sidewalk where that line is, and they'll come in door 8 if you're going to drop your kid off, okay? Bigger school, expect a little bit longer line perhaps than your elementary school. Drop-off time increases during inclement weather and cold temperatures, as I mentioned, so please give yourself more time. Please know, and we really emphasize the kids being here and being on time, okay? It's a big emphasis for us is attendance, period by period and day by day. Students that are at school do better, okay? There's a lot of research behind it, but it's not that complicated. If they're here, they're going to be more informed, they're going to do better, okay? But every single day, we look at the weather, we take into account traffic. I've got a radio where I'm listening to traffic reports, and many, many days, we will release or we will excuse tardies in the morning. We just want you guys to be safe in the drop-off. So please take your time. Know that we're monitoring that sort of thing. Don't drop your kids off at West Hamilton Road. Don't drop them off in the parking lot. Please drop them off on the sidewalk where they know they're going to be safe. Okay? Mr. Beaumont's going to talk a little bit about attendance.
I feel like Willy Wonka, you know, when the kids all showed up at the gate, and then he walked up and he's limping, and then he falls and hops up like he's normal. I got hurt over the weekend, so I don't normally look like this, I promise. Attendance, get your kid to school. Obviously, sometimes we battle with our kids, getting them up out of bed in the morning, and we have some other conflicts that may be going on as well, as far as family and home and things like that. We get that, we understand it. Everybody, we all get 10 parent excuses. If your child leaves early and there's not a doctor's excuse or any type of other excuse, that counts as a full day. That's a full day, okay? So that's a big difference. Of course, if you have excuses for any of those, you turn them into our attendance people, secretaries up front, then of course we don't have those issues like that. But once we get to that 11th day, then that becomes, or the 11th day would be an unexcused day. An unexcused would be a truancy. So then we're talking phone calls and things like that. If your third parent excuse and your sixth, it's an automatic email. Just a bump, just an idea. Hey, you know, this is your third, this is your sixth, we're moving on. We spent the last 2 years, I mean, without question, if your child is not coming to school, or if the child is not coming to school, we're making phone calls. It's not just a letter, not an email. We're trying to personalize it because, again, we're still a family. We get it. We understand. We're going to listen. But at the same time, we still have to document that this is going on, and we're trying to find ways to support. But in going through this, the emails do go out. We don't control that. We control it with, our attendance line, but then it's just an automated email that goes out. But again, the magic number is 10. Once you get to 10 parent excuses, anything after that, if it's unexcused, it becomes a truancy. And then you don't want to go to court. Nobody wants to go to court.
All right. He's pretty much kidding. All right, so the immunizations here, you guys will receive information about this. Please know that this is really important, okay? We spend a lot of time in September chasing people down. We send letters out, we make personal calls. When we get to that date, that hard day, which is always a little bit different, but it's usually mid-September, the state law says we gotta send kids home. And and we hate doing that. Okay, but we will, because we're going to follow the law. So please, when this information comes out over the summer, you're going to probably receive it as early as the end of this school year. Please make sure you take care of these things and you have that documented when registration comes around. Okay, because that is really one of our least favorite days of the school year when we have to send kids home because they don't meet the state regulations for immunizations. All right, so we're going to shift gears here a little bit. Before we hear from our wonderful counselors, we have a student-made video. Now, let me give a little bit of background on this. Last year, we had 3 kids that were just like, Mr. Clark, and I'm not making this up. 3 kids that were just like, Mr. Clark, we love Woodside so much. Can we make a video? Yeah, it's quiet. Yeah, and if you know these kids, I mean, this was completely, I didn't have anything to do with this, the teachers didn't have anything to do with this, they just made this on their own, and I think it just speaks volumes to the types of kids that we have at Woodside, and I'm going to show it again this year. I showed it last year, I'm going to show it again this year. So if you're here last year, I'm sorry, I'm going to watch it again, because it's awesome. But this is just an example of some of the things that our kids are into.
We are students representing Woodside. We are here to show you what Woodside means to us.
That's right. Woodside is more than just a school. It's our home, and students here respect the school. And they are Woodside Strong. Just in case you were wondering what that stands for, S is for safe, T is for trustworthy, R is for responsible, O is for organized, N is for noble, and G is for genuine.
We have multiple examples of how our students and teachers are Woodside Strong. Like this, or this, and even this organized cabinet counts.
Since us Warriors behave so well, we get electives. Our electives vary from art to an amazing music program to POV, which is a class where you can explore what you love to do. We even offer a course to take different languages. These extra classes mean so much to us because we can express ourselves and break up the day with fun classes.
That's right, Jasmine. We are so glad to have these classes here. Woodside also has 6-week rotations, including PE, art, home ec, skills, plus fun activities throughout the year, like Activity Night, the upcoming school dance, our first one, dance, sporting events, and more.
Woodside also offers multiple different clubs to participate in, such as Academic Bowl, Voters Club, Math Counts, Get Up and Move, Lego League, Baking Club, and Game Board Club.
And my personal favorite of all, sports. Woodside has tons of sports like football, basketball, volleyball, swimming, cross country, track, and my favorite, soccer. Sports are a big part of Woodside because students can participate in them and hang out with friends there as well.
As you can tell, Woodside is much more than just a school. It's a home, a family, and a place to meet and spend time with friends, and do the activities you love to do. We are so grateful to have such amazing teachers here and have such a great school. Thank you, everybody, for watching our video.
All right, hello everybody. I am Morgan Baston and I am one of the school counselors here. Raise your hand if your last name begins with A through G. Yes, I love it. You are going to be mine. So I am going to be your assigned counselor next year. And then we have Mrs. Martinez, who's sitting over here. She has all students whose last names begin with an H through M. We always remember Mrs. Martinez because she's the most high maintenance. So if you ever forget which last name she has, it's H through M for her little high maintenance self. And then Mrs. Zukowski is over in the gym manning our counselor booth. So after this, you'll have to stop by and say hi to her, especially if your last name begins with N through Z. So we make up the counselor team here at Woodside. We offer very many different opportunities for our students, individually and within a group setting. So we joke that we have a counseling suite. It sounds a lot fancier than it is, but all of our offices are actually connected to one another, which is awesome because if a student comes down and I'm busy, then I know that I have 2 other counselors that can check in with the student. So there should always be one of us available to your students to meet their needs. But we will meet with students individually We are constantly running different small group counseling, and then we also meet based off of different issues maybe going on outside of the school setting with students at home. And then we also meet with students based off of academic needs, as well as to go over their scheduling. Around our building, students do have access to this QR code, and since they have iPads, they can just take their iPad and scan the code and fill out a form that will allow for them to come meet with us. So that is a discreet way that they can reach out if they need one of us. All right, our 6th grade courses. Up here are all of their required courses over there on the left. So I'm sorry, kids, even if you don't like math, you're still going to have to take that next year. But you will also have your language arts, reading, science, and social studies classes in addition to that math class. And then you will have some other required courses that are a little bit maybe more exciting to you. These are your rotation classes. So every 6 weeks, you are going to have a new rotation. You will have PE 3 times throughout the school year, and in between each PE session, you will either have home ec, skills, or the art class. And then our other required course is a team and tech time. That is split. Half of the time you are in the tech room, and the other half you are with your team doing STEM sort of projects. And then the bottom part here is our awesome elective options. In 6th grade, you don't have as many elective options as you do in 7th and 8th grade, but you still have a lot of options to explore that might pique your interest, especially if you are interested in any type of music courses. We have band, choir, and orchestra. Those are all year long. And then if you are not very musically inclined like me, you would definitely be looking at the semester-long electives, which are creative writing, speech and drama, and study hall. You guys have probably seen these course selection sheets at home because we've already gone over to all of the elementary schools and we have done a scheduling presentation with your student. Those sheets are due back February 18th. So it is important that if you have not seen the sheet yet from your student, that you are asking them about it. We can always get you guys another copy of it too if you need it. But it's important to look this over and send this back to school with your students so they can turn it into their teachers and then get it to us so that we can get them scheduled for next year. All right, here are just some frequently asked questions that I'm sure you have, especially if this is your first time with a student entering into the middle school. But we strongly encourage 2 items that we would tell you to go home and buy first thing this summer when you are buying all of their supplies. One would be a paper planner. This is going to be very new to your students, having 8 classes during a day, and they are going to have to keep track of 8 different assignments and tests and all of that. So having a paper planner could be really beneficial. If they don't like to write things down, we also have an electronic planner that we created that will automatically be on their iPads that they can use as well. And then we also encourage your student to carry a trapper keeper around. This way they don't have to necessarily go to their locker in between each class, and everything can just be in one spot. Locker practice, Mr. Clark went over it, but your student could potentially have up to 3 lockers here at Woodside. So that is definitely a learning curve for them, but they will be practicing their locker combinations in their 5th grade year, normally in May. Lunch is a big question always, is how does that run? You will be with just your grade level for lunchtime, and you get to sit wherever your little heart desires. So there are no assigned seats in lunch, and you are only going to be in lunch with your grade level peers. Honors placement, if you are not currently in the honors program through SACS and you would like to maybe take honors classes next year, you have the option to petition to be in honors courses. We will be coming to elementary schools the 2nd week of March to run those honors petitions. So you will be seeing some information from your building principals regarding 5th grade honors. And then schedules. I know kids want to know, when can I see my classes so I can compare it to my friend's schedule. You will not have access to those until registration day because we are still constantly making changes to their schedules up until that day based off of numbers and teacher changes. And we will not change anything on your student's schedule past those first 5 days of the semester. So once those 5 days have passed, we have a hard line of no schedule changes. And then last but not least, there is just a lot of changes with this transition to middle school, both for parents and students. Obviously, there's a lot of body changes happening right now, so that causes a lot of moods and all of that, which that gives us job security, so that's a good thing for us. But that can cause a lot of conflict at home and with their peers. Just know that when your kids are here at school, we take our jobs really seriously and we take a lot of pride in what we do. So we are here for your kids. If it's a rough night at home, reach out to us. We can check in on them here at school. We are here just as much for you guys as parents as we are for your students. You are probably going to notice that in middle school, your student's going to become a lot more independent. They might push the boundaries. They might not be as affectionate towards you. I know my dad always reminds me of when he tried to hold my hand in the Walmart parking lot and I thought I was going to die when I was in 6th grade, and he will never let me live that down and how much it crushed him. So I totally get that now that I have kids of my own. I can't imagine when they don't want to be around me. So you're gonna see a lot of changes just with your kids, but again, like I said, we're here just as much for you, so never hesitate to reach out. Just remember, it's everyone's first time in your house with middle school, so be patient with yourself, with your kid. You guys are both learning together, and it's not always going to look pretty, but they're going to figure it out. A lot of times your kid is probably going to do worse before they do better, if I'm being honest, since it is such a big difference. But don't freak out, because there's a lot of support here, and we're going to get them where they need to be. As great as we are, none of the kids want to stay here longer than they need to. So we're going to make sure that they're taken care of. And we just wanted to also reiterate that since you all are coming to Woodside from different elementary schools, that it would really be a smart idea that you get to know your friends' parents, especially before you're sending them over to their houses, and just so that you can make sure you guys are on the same page. So make sure you're connecting with your child's peers and monitoring their cell phones if they have one. Just because, again, most of the problems we see at school stem from social media. And last but not least, your student might think that they are grown, but they definitely still need you. It's okay to still hold their hand a little bit through the 6th grade year to make sure that they're getting to where they need to be and that they're not completely drowning, because that will cause a lot of other issues. So they still need you even if they think that they are too cool for you. All right. Thank you guys so much. It was great getting to see all of your faces, and I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Clark.
All right, so you guys are going to have a great time tonight. I want to thank you again for coming to our showcase. Make sure you check out all the awesome tables with the things we have to offer in the gymnasium following this meeting. Again, the school is wide open, guys. We want you to explore. We want you to walk around. We have lots of groups of students who are going to give tours of the building. We also have a library tour. Look for the sign. You can meet Mrs. Smith, our media center specialist. And just as a special treat, one more time, we're going to listen to the jazz band, the Woodside Jazz Band, play our school fight song. But you guys are dismissed at this time. You can kind of play yourself out of here with the music in the background to explore the showcase. If you have any questions, me and Mr. Beaumont, as well as Mrs. Martinez and Mrs. Baston, are going to hang around. Feel free to introduce yourself or ask us any questions that you might have. But again, thanks for coming. Enjoy your night.